This guy next to me is like reading tarot and like selling like pyramids for power or something like that. And the whole weekend, I'm like bending forks, reading minds, like, doing center tarot. Like, I thought I was going to be a legit mentalist back in the day. And at the end of the weekend, the guy goes, "Let me ask you a question. When you bend the fork, do you affect the whole fork or just the molecules where the fork bends?" And I said to him, "I'm a magician. This is all fake." And he looks around and goes, "You don't have to hide your powers from me."
Hey, what's going on? Nick Lacapo here with Penguin Magic, back for another top 10 list with my buddy Erik Tait.
Hey, Nick.
Erik, here you are. How you been?
Oh, pretty good since the last time we did this.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun talking 10 lists here, and we have a master of the art of metal bending here. I bet you never knew that, but this is the best metal bending tricks.
Yes, the best metal bending tricks, resources, tools, my dirty little secret.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm glad you're coming out here to tell us all about the fact that you can bend metal with your mind.
Yes, so the very first sort of like serious deep dive into magic I ever did was metal bending. I think I was like 19 years old, and I wanted to do, I was doing a competition. It was the Winter Carnival of Magic. I think it was almost like 15 years ago now. And I took second place.
Oh, wow.
With a routine.
With a metal bending routine.
It was entirely metal bending. There was some new stuff in there, and I'll never forget on my judge's sheet, they said, "You were very entertaining and interesting. I wish you'd done cards."
And I guess it worked, right? Because you did cards I don't know how many years later and went back and won. Right?
Yeah, I went back and won that damn thing. But yeah, I was really serious into metal bending for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I've got some of my own bends that I've never really released. Maybe one of these days we'll do a project with them. Actually, one of my things that I lecture on is on this list, but everything else is not mine. It's just metal bending stuff that I really like. It's metal bending is a really cool. It's one of those like visual pieces of mentalism that people can do, and like there's a lot of really great resources out there for it, but it's I don't know, people love it.
Yeah, we put it in the mentalism category for a reason.
Yeah.
But really, it's kind of for anybody.
Yeah.
And I learned this early on. I mean, I was when I first got into magic, Penguin Magic, who I now work for, used to heavily advertise liquid metal.
Oh, yeah.
It was like down your throat all the time.
Morgan Strebler was the guy.
Right, and for whatever reason, it was always in my shopping cart, but I never pulled the trigger on it, right?
Now, I'll go ahead and say the liquid metal was not on this list because I wanted a bunch of other things, because I think that if you wanted to get into metal bending, that there are a ton of resources out there, but liquid metal is the one that comes up the most.
Well, for me, my friend Jeff Kaler, another person you'd probably never think of as a metal bender.
No.
Right? He would crush at the bar with bending stuff all the time. And I was like, man, I'm missing out.
Man,
I'm missing out.
At the height of my metal bending thing, I would go to Walmart and clean their silverware out. Because they used to sell dollar forks that were perfect.
Oh, man.
And I'd spend like $50 on forks a week. $50 on a week.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, tell us the top 10 tricks that we're missing out on. And if you guys follow along in the comments, we'll have a list of all this stuff in there. Let us know what you think. But number 10, what do you got?
Okay, so again, first of all, I'm going to keep liquid metal off of this list just because it's so ubiquitous. So I wanted to take that out of there and add some things in that maybe people were not familiar with.
Okay.
And the number 10 is actually going to be a devil's hank.
Okay.
So a devil's hank is a really great device for switching in devices.
Classic device.
And I think it might even be on Jay Sankey's live act that we filmed at Magic Live, where he talks about doing a spoon bend with a devil's hank.
I think, this is ringing some bells.
Yeah, and I've used a devil's hank a couple of times to like switch forks, switch keys, switch different things, but it's a really great way to sort of go, do you feel the object? Okay, now I'm going to, and then you can reveal the object and it's bent. And you couldn't have done anything because they can take the object and put it in themselves, and then you cause the whatever it is to malform. So a devil's hank is a really good, it's a great entryway because you can sort of build the mystery with, I'm gonna do something for you. I don't want you to see immediately what's going on, and then later on do crazy visuals.
Wait a minute, hold up. You're not actually bending the metal with your mind?
No. Well, actually, I'll tell you a story. Back when I was in college, I got booked to do a psychic fair. And I thought that they were having like other mentalists and fake psychics do this thing. But it was a legit,
legit psychic.
It was
fair.
a legit psychic fair. There were crystal readers and card readers and like people talking to the dead. And they gave me a booth. I don't remember. I remember it was put on by the college. But they this guy next to me is like reading tarot and like selling like pyramids for power or something like that. And the whole weekend I'm like bending forks, reading minds, like, you know, doing center tarot. Like I thought I was going to be a legit mentalist back in the day. And at the end of the weekend, the guy goes, "Let me ask you a question. When you bend the fork, do you affect the whole fork or just the molecules where the fork bends?" And I said to him, "I'm a magician. This is all fake." And he looks around and goes, "You don't have to hide your powers from me." Yeah, I was like, like metal bending is crazy powerful, legit stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, I'm not actually. I'm using my hand.
I said it as a joke, but like, you know, I guess maybe we should say here that I think this is why number 10 is interesting, because it's like kind of a non-sleight of hand version of a metal bend.
But it can be super powerful.
Yeah.
Like people will. I've used a devil's hank to make people think that I bent a fork up really crazy, and it is very powerful.
Yeah, we said it at the beginning, or at least I mentioned it here. It's just like, we kind of associate it with mentalism. The reason why it is because people like this guy do perceive this as being real. Yeah,
because a lot of people associate it with Uri Geller. As a matter of fact, Uri Geller is really who we consider the father of modern spoon bend. No one was bending spoons until Uri Geller showed up on, you know, the Tonight Show going, "Ooh."
Yeah. So, so that's why. But a great number 10. What about number 9?
Number 9 is actually something you're really familiar with. It's the Raven.
Yeah, I joked with you before we filmed this. I was like, I know nothing about metal bending, and I bet I'm going to be totally wrong. I said, yes, I know a lot about the Raven.
Yeah, the Raven was a very early device that I used to bend metal because I would use, you know, we all know the Raven is the world's best switching device, and it uses ferrous objects. Well, the great thing about American coins is that they're non-ferrous. So you can use the Raven as a holdout to hide whatever it is that you want, and then borrow and switch in a magnetic quarter or a shim quarter, and then you can cast a shadow slowly over your hand, and as you pick up one, drop the other.
Right.
And if you're very careful about it, you can make sure that the dates match and stuff like that, or that there's...
No, you're absolutely right.
You can do the same thing with keys. There's all kinds of different like PK effects that you can do with that, but bending coins without touching them was my favorite. And the nice thing is you don't have to get it perfect, right? Because you're going to apply energy to it. So you can come in to someone's hand and hold your hand over it for a fair period of time in order to make sure you get it, and then the other coin falls in the right way. And they'll actually like feel the coin like jump. You can be like, "Did you feel it jump?" And they'll be like, "Oh, I did." So there's a nice sort of like tactile thing where you can do it in someone else's hand.
Right. That's so fun. I mean, I literally taught this quarter bend on the Raven DVD.
You're an expert.
Yeah, I'm fairly an expert. I know a lot more about metal bending than I think.
Yeah, no, any type of like switching device where you can switch out one thing for another is really good. And that's why I really like both the Devil's Hank and the Raven for metal bending stuff.
Interesting. See, even I was skewed on this because I think metal bending, I think sleight of hand, all of a sudden you're giving me two ways to do it with that.
Yeah.
So give me number 8.
Number 8, this is a really old Penguin download, and it is a Morgan Strubler one, but it's the opener.
The opener.
You ever seen the opener?
Refresh me.
Oh man, the opener is so cool because you take a paper clip and then you literally hold it at your fingertips and it starts to open like this. That's why Morgan calls it the opener, right? Now it's a little knacky to get into. It is something that you have to use as an opener because of the setup involved. But this thing, the paper clip visually opens all the way up and then moves around, and then you can drop it in their hands for examination. And it is one of the most visual bends that you can do. Unfortunately, you can't do it up on stage, but it is such a dynamite close-up trick. I did it for years when I was working behind the counter in a magic shop to just wreck people. It's old, but it's out there. But it's Morgan Strubler's the opener.
Huh. Would you consider it more like a metal bending, or is it more of like an animation type of thing?
You could call it an animation, but I still think of it as metal bending because what Morgan teaches a way to switch out the gimmicked bend so that you can hand it to them and they can take it home and examine it, because it really does bend visually, but you're not taking advantage of any of the traditional sleight of hand optical illusion stuff. It's when we're off of this, I'll show it to you.
Okay.
It looks super good.
Yeah. I know that people really paperclip bends. There's like a whole trend of there's like subcultures of metal bending, right?
Oh,
Forks,
yeah.
spoons,
I played
quarters.
I played with some paperclip bends back in the day that were really neat and really visual, but the opener was always one that I would go back
Yeah,
to.
people really like it. Let's get to, what are we on, 7?
7 is one from our mutual friend, Mr. Wolf.
Mr. Wolf.
Yeah, Branden
The
Wolf.
Wolf.
The Wolf. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize he has one of the better coin bends out there.
I didn't know that either.
It's called the Bison Bend.
Oh, I do know the Bison Bend.
Yeah, he put it out as a download a number of years ago. If you look it up, it's really cool. But he does a lot of very interesting and subtle coin magic with moves that you would not normally do. And I think it's a variation on his Gray Vanish or Gray Switch or something like that. But it's a very visual, very interesting bend that he does. And one of the neat things is it's with a larger coin. So you need to use like a dollar coin. I know he really likes to work with Eisenhowers and like full dollar size coins. And it's one of those rare bends that you can do with that. And there's a whole sort of subgenre of big coin bends that are really neat. And the one that actually just jumps to mind is Jay Sankey has a really cool bend that's kind of similar to the Bison Bend, but not. But you end up with this really visual coin bend of an Eisenhower dollar. But the Bison Bend by Branden Wolf is really good.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I have not watched that download, but every time I've seen him teach anything, it's so, he's got different teaching styles, so thoughtful and like just maybe unexpected is the way. I think you'd be blown away if you bother. I'm just guessing because I have not seen it, but
no, I've seen it and I've used it, and it's super good. I used to use this when I was doing a lot of metal bending. There's a classic metal bend that you do where you sort of bend a spoon and then the spoon breaks. And then one thing I would always do is I would always, a lot of people stop there and they hand it out for examination. So I would then take the bowl of the spoon and then do a coin bend with it. Because, the bowl of a spoon is right about the same size as like a dollar coin, depending on the spoon you get. And I used to use this Jay Sankey one, and I think it was in his Rev Coin Technique DVD that he had this, but I then switched to using the Bison Bend with the bowl of the spoon. So after you break the spoon, then you do the Bison Bend with the bowl of the spoon, and then you're using all of the parts of the spoon.
Yes, you better harvest every part of the spoon if you're going to destroy it like that. It's very proper of you there. I like that. Let's go to number 6.
Number 6 is an effect of mine. It's not out as a download, but if you do track down some of my lecture notes, you can get it out there. And I often teach it in live lectures, and it is snake oil.
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah.
This is Patrick Redford said that this is one of his favorite coin bends that he saw when I lectured in Detroit. And what it is a signed coin bend that happens inside of an orange medicine bottle, a pill bottle. I mean, like with the child's lock.
Yeah.
And it's crazy visual, and the really nice part is you can give it away at the very end of it. If you can track down my lecture notes, or you can reach out to me on Instagram if you want to get them. It's a really neat bend, and I've been playing with it for years, and it's now in a place where if I really want to do something different while I'm doing walk around restaurant, and I also want to give someone something that they can really remember, snake oil is usually what I do, because I can borrow the quarter from them, they can sign their quarter, it goes into the pill bottle, I bend it, they can see it flat in the pill bottle, then I bend it, then I hand them the coin and I hand them the pill bottle. Everything can be given away.
Yeah, I really like this one, and that's more because we were talking about this at the beginning, where it's like, I wouldn't think that you're a metal bender, or Jeff Kaler, or me, or whatever. Yeah. But for me, because there's an interesting prop involved, and it's not a direct line between me and bending the object, right? There's another element involved with the cool orange pill bottle, right? Which is something that never gets used in Magic. And everything happens inside of there. Yeah. So it's just really, it's not what I think of when I think of metal bending. Right.
No, we think of metal bending in the context of like forks and spoons, and there's really so much you can do when you start to branch out and think about it in other ways.
Yeah, super cool to be able to do something like that with another prop that you would never get to use. Yeah, snake oil. Number 5. What do you got?
Oh, number 5. This a bit of a cheat because it's not metal, but it is a bend, and it's our mutual friend David Penn, Refraction.
Oh, which one is this?
This is the bending wine glass.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this is, I will never forget when I saw this, but basically what it is you have a wine glass, like a long stem wine glass, like a white wine glass, or maybe like a shallow red wine glass, and the stem bends.
Yeah.
And David has done a remarkable job teaching it. I mean, I remember, this was one of those things that he put out years ago. It's on DVD. You can find it here at Penguin Magic. Just search Refraction by David Penn. Penn is with 2 N's. And it's a beautiful routine and a really nice way to follow up any metal bending routine if you're going to be in a position to do it.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, yes, I agree. Bending routine, but your audience would never associate the two, really. Man, anything, some of the best tricks I've ever seen have been done with like manipulation of an actual like wine glass, either putting somebody's ring on the stem or even broken restored glass, that type of stuff, man. Yeah, a bending wine stem. It's probably wreck people.
It's super cool, and especially because what I had always wanted to do with it was I got really into key bending for a while, and key bending is a little bit hard because you don't want to borrow people's keys, and no one wants to give you their keys. They don't know, they won't be able to open their stuff anymore. So you get blanks, and I wanted to be able to do a key bending routine where they would choose keys out of a wine glass, and then I wanted to bend the wine glass and have the keys fall out of it. And David Penn's Refraction was like the way I was headed for that.
I need to check that one out.
You'd really like it too because it's good for a parlor act. It's solid.
Yeah, that's. I'm always buying stuff whenever we do these lists.
Yeah.
We're at 4.
4.
Man, I have no idea. See, I'm way off on this whole list, right? I have no idea what's coming up next.
4 is back to traditional metal bending, and it is Mangle.
Mangle.
Yeah. This is a tool. It's not a bend in and of itself. This is something. D. Christopher, our European unit, did a lot of the heavy lifting on the tutorial for this and helped source a lot of the components. But Mangle is a really solid tool for a metal bender.
Yeah, it gives you, if I'm not mistaken, it gives you access to bends that you just can't do. Otherwise.
Yeah, like metal bending, at the end of the day, metal bending is a game of leverage. And so you need to apply leverage to whatever it is you're going to do to bend it. Now, whether you're applying that leverage in the moment or you're applying that leverage before anything happened, you need to get the leverage to be able to put the bend in the metal. And what Mangle allows you to do is do some of those so I can't give it away here because it's not my secret to teach, but getting the twist in the spoon or the twist in the fork, you can do without a gimmick. But one of the things that I learned early on is that if you use a gimmick, it allows to give you additional leverage, and the actual twist in the spoon or the fork will be a much prettier twist, because you can get the twist where it looks like a knot, or you can get the twist where it is actually a spiral. And if you use a tool, you can get that spiral, and Mangle allows you to do that. But it also allows you access to bending the tines of forks, putting twists in the tines of forks. You can do keys and coins with it because it's got slots to do things like that, and it's magnetic, so you can use it as a holdout. So you can ring it in, ring it out, and not have to like go into your pockets. Like it's a very strong device for metal bending.
Yeah, and
you don't have to use it, but it's a tool.
Yeah, and if you are in the business of doing it and you want to even bend things beforehand, it'll help you make nice looking stuff before you don't have to actually use it in the moment as well. Because I own a couple things around the house that help me bend coins and things. I don't do a lot of these things, but sometimes the stuff that I have to teach in here requires me to have a bent quarter around. So keeping something like that around is interesting to be able to put things in the way that you might want them.
Oh yeah.
Are we at 3 already?
We are at 3 already, and this is another tool. This is another bend, but it's another tool. It's Manny Lenenfeld's ox bender.
Oh, this one's great.
Yeah, it's a one-handed coin bending tool.
I use exactly what I was just talking about. I use this one all the time to bend for something if I need to bend it.
Manny is done all the work here. It's a really reliable tool. Produces a reliable bend. You can use it in the moment. He teaches you how to ring it in and out, so you can actually have a coin chosen by an audience member. They can sign it like well away from your hands, and then you can take it back, and then you can put it in, get that bend in, ditch the ox bender, and then do all the work. And it's really good. Yeah,
it took a while to, once I started learning more about metal bending, learning about like how the one-handed bend is like.
That was the holy grail.
Yeah, it's kind of like the holy grail.
Because there's so many, like, the boa constrictor, the Superman coin bend, all really great solutions that I know a lot of people have used. But at the end of the day, you're still doing that. Like, I couldn't bend it, right? But you're doing the work under their nose.
Yeah.
But they sort of intellectually know you couldn't get the leverage. But the ox bender takes all that out, and it's just a better tool for doing whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, for sure. And we should just mention, I don't know if Manny's name is coming up here in the next two, but he's put out a lot of stuff over the last decade.
Yeah, Carpenter's Nightmare, and the list goes on.
Yeah, so. The art of metal bending. I mean, there's just anything. If you see Manny Lennenfeld's name and you're interested in metal bending.
I mean, really, number 3 is Manny Lennenfeld just because.
Just Manny Lennenfeld.
It's the ox bender specifically, but it's Manny Lennenfeld flatly across the board.
Right.
Go to tons of metal bending.
Because if tomorrow I needed to do metal bending, not only am I watching this top 10 list, but I'm going straight to Manny Lennenfeld to find everything
100.
I need to know.
Yeah.
All right, we're at number 2.
Number 2, this is a P3 download, but also a product that I really liked, and it's actually one of the things that got me back into magic. It's Bentley.
Oh, Bentley, yeah.
Yeah, Bentley was really cool. Bentley was like a really sick paperclip bend.
I know a lot about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I taught it. So,
you did? That's
DVD.
right. I learned it from you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think this was even before we were friends. This is when
probably.
Before you moved to town, started doing this.
Yeah, this is 2013, 14, right in the beginning. This is a great trick by Chris Hannawell.
Oh yeah, Chris Hannawell did this, and Bentley is really cool because it takes what is awesome about the opener, which is this super visual paperclip bend where it goes all the way around, and it fixes a lot of the problems that the opener has. Now, Bentley still has some of its own problems, but it's one of those things that, like, maybe it should be lower down the list, but it's near and dear to my heart because it really sort of like kickstarted my love of magic again, and like wanting to find out like what was new and what was on the cutting edge. And I still have some Bentley props kicking around that I'm always like, do I need to do this right now?
Yeah, this one kind of really took the internet magic world by storm when it first came out. There was a lot of buzz about this trick.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of debate about the props being good or bad. What's funny is what ended up happening is it's even better than you think.
Yeah.
Because these days when you do it, it works really well. It's always worked really well.
Yeah.
But the trick of bending that paperclip up for spectators, it gets big reaction.
Yeah.
And
it's like, and the other thing is, it happens here.
Yeah, it
at
happens
your
here.
fingertips.
You don't have to do anything.
No.
You're not doing anything at the moment. So it's super easy to do. It's
Yeah.
super visual. And there's a lot of great variations. You know, Brent Braun's got a lot of great work on Bentley. If you ever get into Bentley, send Brent a message because he's got a lot of work he can tip on it.
It's super duper good.
Yeah, no, that's a good number 2. I like that number 2. Number 1.
Number 1, I don't think this is a very controversial thing because it's the grandfather of all the metal bending stuff. It's Psychokinetic Silverware by Banach.
Okay, yeah, how can you not?
I hesitated, like liquid metal was one of those that was up there for me because the liquid metal routine is really great. The Patrick Cuff stuff is really good. The Manny Lennenfeld stuff is really good. But when it comes down to it, a lot of the techniques all stem from Banach.
All born there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, as a matter of fact, if you took, and I know some people might get me in hot water saying this, but if you took all of the different bends from Psychokinetic Silverware and put them together, you could get liquid metal or the other routines. Like the various routines where the fork ends up as just a giant pile of wreckage. You could get those from Psychokinetic Silverware.
Not that those all these psycho performers out there coming at you now.
Not that those other psycho performers don't have excellent work and excellent tips of their own, and you should definitely check them all out. Liquid Metal 2, and Liquid Metal 3 all have touches that are you can't find anywhere else, and that are super valuable, right? The Australian tapes, and his way of metal bending, Paul Draper's way of bending metal.
So many.
There's so many, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, Banachek's the godfather of metal bending, and his stuff is really well thought out. He teaches some interesting tips. There's some cool stuff in there. There's I want to say there's a knife bend in there, or there's definitely a technique that I took from it. We're using some interesting like basics in card switching that Banachek applied to like spoons, and then I was like, oh, you can do that with a knife, which is neat. But it's I know it was originally on VHS. I know it's on DVD. I think you can get it as a DRM download. It's all really clear. I think Jerry is on there too. It's a really interesting tape, and it is well worth anyone looking at.
He's a great teacher too.
He's such a great teacher.
I'm not sure. I think I've missed both of or I think he's only been here once. I think I missed that filming when he was here. I'm not sure if he talks about spoons at all.
I interviewed him for the Penguin Magic podcast, and off pod we talked a little bit about metal bending, but I know we talked about the Alpha Project, and I think the other cool thing about that is there's an interview in the end where he talks a little bit about the Alpha Project and I'm pretty sure it's Psychokinetic Silverware, where he has a mini interview on using these techniques to fool scientists, like specifically the metal bending techniques, which is
top 10
so
tricks
good.
to fool scientists. Go.
Oh yeah, Banach 1 through 10. No, but it's if you want to learn metal bending and you want to learn it from someone who did it under the most strenuous conditions,
Crazy story.
it's Banach.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. You are right. Hail, Lord.
Hail Lord Banach.
Yes. Thank you guys for watching. Leave us a comment below if you also celebrate the life of Banach. Give us a thumbs up on that. Also, if you have any suggestions for other top 10 lists or want to know what other secret hobbies Erik has, please list that below. For Penguin Magic, Erik and myself, we'll see you next time.